I'm having the honor of moderating these two lovely ladies today. And that's quite a task because I know how amazing and brilliant they are and how much they love this subject.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. So we talked a little bit before, and Ninni, you have this amazing story that brought you into this whole area of expertise, which I love your amazing expertise. So would you start by telling us a little bit about how you got into the fertility world?
Yeah. So as you said, it's from my own expertise or own journey towards becoming fertile. So I have been blind to my own health in a way, and it's kind of scary because I've been working in this field for so long, and I've been having my own clinic. I have clients in different types of what's called illnesses, and I know that your cycle is actually telling so much about your health. So it can really be a small look into your health if your cycle is on or off. And for me, I was like, not for me, because I am so healthy, so I must be unique in this kind of sense. And I went to the doctor, and they're like, you don't have to think about it. And when I went to the doctor, I haven't really had a period for about 19 years. So I had it maybe 10 times, and I had it, and then I had it when I was in love, which is because of the oxytocin, kind of interesting as well. But I didn't really get the cue anyway, because I was like, I'm so healthy. And then I went to the fertility clinic, and they're like, you cannot get pregnant by yourself. You have to get help. And I was really curious about this because I thought, how can this be true when I'm actually doing all the right things?
Yeah.
So that was when I started becoming interested in what does make a woman fertile. And I started looking into these things, and I came across something called hypothalamic amenorrhea. And I get so sensitive about it because I remember first time I read about it, I just start crying. I was like, this is my story. Hypothalamic, let's call it HA. We're gonna do that. Is a state where you are absence of menstrual cycles. It can be due to stress in some kind of sense. So it can be mental stress, but for most women, it's actually because you're undernourished. You can have enough calories, but you can also have you can also be deficient in calories. But in the end, it's micronutrients you're lacking, and you need them to have a cycle. And it can also be due to overtraining. And for me, it was a combination, because I am also so lucky to be one of those who have been suffering from eating disorders a long time in my life, which has actually, I think it has been manipulating with my hunger and satiety. So when I started eating regularly normally, I actually can't trust myself, because even though I was full all the time, I didn't get enough. So when I started looking into my own health and looking into how much I was actually eating and how much I was training, I could see that there was a mismatch. So instead of starting and going back to this fertility clinic who said that I couldn't become pregnant by myself or naturally, I started eating a lot, and a lot more than I was actually normally doing. And 3 weeks later, I stopped training, and I was doing a lot of exercise. So I also need to, maybe I should go deeper into this at one point, but I did a lot of exercise as well, so I stopped that. And then 3 weeks later, I was pregnant. And that is actually I didn't have a period for 1.5 years before I got pregnant. So it was also pretty lucky. It's not always the story, but it's just to say how much nutrition can do and lifestyle can do to your cycle, to your fertility, to your health. And from that day, I was like, I need to tell this story, because it's so many women and so many people that I know who has been struggling with eating. Is not just because of misunderstandings in how and what health is. Is it a fat-free diet, or is it a lot of training, or is it how you look? There's so many different things that comes into what is health. So I needed to tell this story, and from that day I started working with fertility to guide people and women to become more fertile. Yeah.
Yes. And I think your story is so amazing because it encapsulates how we got it all wrong sometimes. Because most nutrition advice is just eat less, do more.
Yeah.
And a lot of women, especially the women in an audience like this, can relate to doing all the right things.
Yeah.
You know, working out properly, maybe every day, maybe other 2 days, eating too little. And I know all three of us hear a lot that we see a lot of women being diagnosed with what they think is PCOS, and it's actually PCO, polycystic ovary, but not the syndrome, which is just inhibited ovulation, which can be caused by undereating, over-exercising, stress. There can be a lot of causes, but then they go out and they Google and they do a PCOS diet, and that actually turns out to be a lot worse for the body. It's a lot more stressful.
Yeah.
So I think that one of the things that...
Yeah, and a PCOS diet is a diet really low in carbohydrates, and actually on most, if you Google PCOS, I think it says that you have to lose 5% of your weight to lower your symptoms, which is like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And you have a BMI of 22 or 20 or something. I see it all the time in the clinic. The doctors tell them lose 5 or 10% of your body weight. And it's like, I went from having my cycle 3 times a year to not ever. So, And my way around it was I worked a lot of women with PCOS and worked a lot with low carbs and a lot of that. But the more I got into it, the more visible it got that that exactly. So half of who I'm talking about is it doesn't fit into the classic box of PCOS. And I have so many stories from clients like you, who like 3 months, eat a lot, don't exercise, and then they become pregnant. I see it all the time.
Yeah. And that's what I think is so interesting about fertility issues, because fertility is not just one thing.
No,
it's a spectrum. And we need to address fertility for what it is, the underlying causes. And we know that infertility affects 1 in 6 people in their lifetime. And around 17.5 of the population is affected by infertility. That's a whole lot. And the male factors, because we're women and we're always addressing the female factors, but the male factors actually accounts for 50% of cases of infertility, and 20 to 30% of these cases, the reason is solely from the male. So we need to be addressing, yet we always treat women, both in the functional medicine community, longevity community, it's always fix the woman, but it's also in standard procedures today. It's always addressing the woman. But we would like to also talk about the male fertility and what we can do, because female fertility is male fertility and male fertility is female fertility. It's a fusion of those two when we entrap a baby. So I would so much like to address a little bit about the way you work as well, Marlene, in addressing fertility from a functional medicine perspective. For when you've done all the right things, when you've nurtured, when you looked into your habits, when you got ease on your nervous system, and it still doesn't, you still don't get pregnant, then you come into
Then it's me. So my whole, for me it started actually with the PCOS clients. It was like, if you don't fit into this box and it doesn't make sense in the hormonal test, in the test, in how you look like, in how you feel, it doesn't make sense that you are in this PCOS box, then what the hell is wrong then? So my road into this and being really good in fertility was, what's wrong with all the women who don't have a cycle, can't get pregnant, and it looks like PCOS, but it isn't PCOS. And my take on the whole fertility is, I talk to I talk to the really bad cases, the really tried really long time, reoccurrent miscarriages and stuff like that, and people who haven't have success in doing this lifestyle intervention haven't helped them at all. So for me, it's about what are the hidden causes beneath the infertility issues, and the male infertility is also often hidden as well as the female. You can have an absolutely normal cycle and still be infertile, and there can still be so much underneath to look at, and that's what I do. And it's very you cannot put it in a formal. You have to look at the individual, but it's really important. And what I know from my clients is most of them are like, can you just please tell me what to do and I will do it. Tell me what to do to become pregnant. I'm like, I can't tell you that before we know what's underneath, and probably it's a lot less effort from you than if you need to lose 20 kilos or something like that. It's probably way low effort compared to that, but we need to know what's underneath. And also when we talk about male fertility, it's not enough. I have had male clients, couples, where the male have had, from the clinics, you have Rolls-Royce semen, and then we take a deep dive and you do a DNA fragmentation sperm count, and it's off. So if it doesn't work, even though it looks right, look into it.
Yeah. And how do you look into it? What are some of the factors that you would look for? If a couple comes into your clinic, what are you looking for? What kind of tests are you running?
A lot. All of them. And not all of them on everyone. I do a lot of DNA testing because I think the DNA testing is so get you, where should the spotlight be? So if you have deficiency in glutathione, which is very important for the egg quality and for the ovulation and the protection against toxins, then I know I should be more aware, more hyper aware of the risk of toxins in the environment and stuff like that. And is there any low effort optimizations that we can, you need this for this enzyme, then we can optimize your egg quality or your ovulation or the luteal phase. So that's very often a tool I use, and very often one of the first tools. If we don't have a clear cut, I've been living in Amelia apartment 5 years ago, so then I will start there. But very often DNA is a cause into it. If we have hormonal imbalances, I of course do Dutch testing a lot. And if we have cases with IBS, it's not like if you have IBS you can't get pregnant, but if you can't get pregnant and you have IBS, we need to look into what could be the reason behind it, and do you have leaky gut? We need to optimize the digestive enzymes so you get enough nutrients, even though you eat enough, so you don't have low-grade inflammation in the body affecting the luteal phase and stuff like that.
Yeah. So what I hear both of you actually say is it's not fertility work, it's body work.
Yeah, absolutely.
If your body heals and it's fully functional, it should be able to conceive properly.
Yeah.
But those factors interplaying with your fertility and your whole body is so individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kind of, you need somebody from the outside who's educated in the detective work of the body.
If you are the tough cases, but if you're not, you get nourish your body, like you say, Gosh.
You can do a lot with that, and then there's also other factors as age, which can also be a factor, of course. So it's not always like you can just fix yourself, but there is a lot of different cases. But in my case, I see, and I actually looked, because a lot of my clients, when I started getting interested into fertility, came to me with gut issues. And kind of interesting, when we fix the gut issues, we fix the infertility. So everything is linked together, and that's definitely because of the absorptions of vitamins and minerals, which are really related to gut health. So that's also really interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so nurturing it all the way around. So what if you have a client that comes into your clinic and kind of want to come off the pill and then get pregnant? I see you laughing because...
I love that.
Yeah. What to expect? You know, do you just go off contraception and then you get pregnant? It was kind of a leading question, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can go.
Yeah, okay. Apps, as the longer time we have to optimize before you want to get pregnant, the better. So I love it when I have women in the early 20s and stuff like that. I want to get off the pill. I've been on the pill for many years because of acne or something like that, or endometriosis and something like that. How can we get me to a place where I don't have symptoms when I come off the pills, and how do I from then get a normal cycle so I can become pregnant in the future? That is my ideal clients, because then we have so much time and we have so much time for the interventions. That's not my typical clients. They are I would have loved to be pregnant 2 years ago. That's my typical clients, but that's an ideal case.
Yeah. But I also think in my case, I can see that a lot of women have been on the pill just because of symptoms of, oh, you don't have your period. I'm going to give you the pill, and then you're going to have your period, and that's not true. And when you do that, and you get off the pill, and you get so frustrated that you don't get it back, that can actually be a thing that you have to look into, because that is your health. Like you really have to take that as a what's called like a hint of your state. And studies also show that that these pills actually deplete your system for a lot of nutrients. So when you're nutrient deficient, you cannot feed a baby. And I think one of the things that I came to my mind, and one of the things that I started to understand, is that if you can't feed yourself, you cannot feed a child. If you're too stressed about that, you cannot also stress about a child. And I think that is a big saying in this environment, because our body is not here to fuck us up. It's definitely here to keep us healthy. And when you start thinking there's something wrong with my body, stop that, because it's trying to tell you something, and it needed to go that far for you to listen. And and I think that is kind of a beautiful thing as well, even though you get so fucking frustrated about it, right? Because you're like, I'm doing it right.
Yeah. But if you don't have your period, you don't.
but actually,
maybe you do it right, or it's something else.
And there's something that is really fragile about this, is that our what's called like reproductive tissues that we have is the one with most mitochondria. Mitochondria, that word also. That means that they require a lot of energy. So if you, let's see, if you're one of those, wake up in the morning, drink a coffee maybe with some collagen in it, wait and try to see if you can fast until 12, and then you maybe eat a small little chicken salad without the dressing because you're scared of it. I don't know, like I've had these minds myself, and I know that there is people out there trying to keep this way, and then in the end maybe go to the drawer and then everything is fucked and you try again next day. But if you're one of those and you don't get your body enough energy, the easiest way for your system to shut down is there, because it will keep you safe and also the child, because let's face it, you can't feed it right now. And in the end, if you go through the pregnancy and you build a child, it takes so much energy to feed the child as well. So it's a whole procedure where you have to be able to show your body, hey, I can do this. You can be safe right now. I am actually in overload to be able to achieve or perceive.
Yeah.
And achieve a baby.
Yes. Is stress a factor? What do you see there? Does stress contribute to infertility?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In many ways, stress affects everything from the glands in the brain and the uterine lining and the gut lining and the vaginal microbiome we talked about yesterday. It creates inflammation, and if you are, back to the genetics, if you are predisposed.
Predisposed.
Exactly, predisposed to get celiac disease or autoimmunity or something like that, and you get stressed, the risk of that catching on is severe. And the more stressed you are, the worse it gets. So quite often it's like when I take a timeline on my clients, it's like, okay, I was stressed when I was 25, and then since then I had got IBS diagnosis, and I've got chronic fatigue, and then I got stressed again. It's like, of course you can't conceive right now. You need to remove some of the things that got bad, but not only stress. Of course we need to remove stress, but also the consequences that stress had made, like what about your vaginal microbiome? What about your gut microbiome? What about the gut lining? What about the... So I think that's important as well, that there was nothing before I was stressed. Yeah, but maybe you don't know. In my history, the way before I went on your institute, Caroline, my road for that was I was super stressed, like stressed out. I couldn't function for a year and a half. And my symptoms of PMD, like severe, the doctor thought I had borderline personality disorder, but it was just PMS, like so severe. And I was like, I need to do something about my hormones. And then I found you. And I took the education, and now I help people with a lot of stuff. So, and that was started because of stress. It was started because autoimmunity was started in my body because I was predisposed. So I had... I had a severe gluten. I had 4 gluten reactions. I needed to address that. I needed to look at the estrogens and stuff like that. So I clean up after stress, please. Yeah. Don't be stressed and clean up.
For my I think that it's one side, but there's also what I see the most is also this hidden stress.
Yeah.
And overeating, undernutrition, undereating, like there's a lot of these things that's a stressor, and acute stress is fine because you're training or whatever, but if you're doing this at the same time, you're having stress for so much longer than you need. And that will start become chronic. I was doing it on myself because I had a ring to track it, and I was like, yeah, that's just, it doesn't really understand me. I'm still unique. So everyone else, I would be like, you have to slow down. But myself, I was like, I'm unique. It has nothing to do with me. And then I could see when I actually started implementing more food, stopped overtraining. I was doing quite a lot. I went from 8 hours a day being stressed, which is like kind of a lot, right? As average, to maybe 1.5 or 2, which is pretty normal. So underlying stress is also a thing. And when you talk about hypothalamic amenorrhea, I should just say HA, you have high cortisol levels.
Absolutely.
And that is a big influence on everything in your system. Like you can just say quality of all your cells.
Yeah.
Yes.
But also the egg quality and the sperm quality, and it's super important with the hidden stress. When I look at male infertility, except if you have some exposure to some kind of toxins or something like that, it's underlying stress.
Yeah,
that's the
and that is kind of hard because you're in this situation. I want to get a baby, but I can't stress about it, and I'm getting older.
Yeah.
And you're like, just calm down, and it will come. And it's just so hard to say. It's just so hard to say and so hard to understand, but it actually is really try to relax. And don't put in that you have to do all these different types of, I need to go to the okay, I'm talking about myself again. You can probably hear that. Start meditating. You need to go to no more yoga, and you need to do all these different things. And that's not a stress relief when you're there. You really just need to,
do nothing.
Do nothing.
Raise oxytocin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, be in love. Be in love.
Yeah, I try to say that to my boyfriend.
And it's
like, I
kind
have
of a
my
main
period
factor of having a baby.
That as well. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So what I hear you say is that we're looking for the individual factors that affects not just fertility, but the whole body's ability to create life. It is kind of the main function, actually, of the body. And there's so many factors. that can affect that fertility and how our whole body functions. So how do you approach that? How do you know which of these factors are affecting you? And how do you know that as practitioners, when you see a client walk into your office or to your clinic, how do you spot those individual factors?
Who's first?
You
I can go. So when, yeah, my focus is first of all, I can do a couple of testing and stuff like that. But first of all, I would just start looking into the diet and the lifestyle, and most women just undereat, like definitely just undereat, and so I would start by talking about that and just really trying to put in more quality food into the diet, because we have been focusing a little bit too much on low fat, low calorie, plant-based, and all these three factors is just really bad for fertility. And I know that when it comes to calories, you being fertile is being in overload. So you really need to put yourself on more food if you don't have your period. And fat is what hormones are made of. Just you need to have those fats. And when I say not plant-based, it's because high quality micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, and also proteins comes from animal sources. And we talked a little bit about it, and I know it's controversial to say, but I really need that when we go to the doctor and we have a problem, we solve it with health as our main focus and not the environment. Because we need, when women go on this low everything diet and also low animal-based diet, like where the fuck we want to find your nutrients? And I think that's completely off. And I really, really, really want to state that. I think I made my point here. So that is a focus. Just we can see that if you have your plate and you move towards more protein on that plate, you will be more balanced in your blood sugar, which is also a big deal when it comes to fertility. You will get more nutrients. You will eat less fuck things and all these crappy snacks that we have out there. And that's also one of, I could really go on for this. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow as well. But it's a really, really interesting topic. And I mean, when I talk to clients about infertility, this is where I start. And then, of course, about lifestyle and all these, it needs to match.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I am focused on the woman, on the women in this. And then if there is anything else, I would just send it over here, and you can continue.
Send them in to Marlene.
Yeah, but the ones coming to me will where I think there is a lot of room for, like, your baseline needs to be better, eating more or eating less or something like that. I sent them to other people. So, but when you are in that situation and you have tried to do the right thing, and then you're still not pregnant within a year, then I do my my thing. But I do the screening. It's like where does the problem is? Is it a hormonal problem? You talk about hormones so much in fertility, but and I really love doing hormonal testing, but it's not in top 5 because all the other things are so important. So my first off is to close the doors. Is there hidden male infertility? Is there a hidden inflammation in you? Is there something genetic that we really need to support you immensely? Or is there something? Yeah, I have worked a lot with inflammation. Inflammation is a huge thing. So half of my pre-consultation is like, where does the inflammation come from?
But I think also what I think is interesting with your work is that I can maybe lower the inflammation, and I can maybe regulate the hormones in some kind of way, because insulin resistance and these things also have a major impact on progesterone and estrogen. But where all that inflammation made a lot of trouble, That's because if you go on with this for for a very long time, it can manifest in so many different places in your system.
Yeah.
And that's when it's really interesting to do all these different tests. So it's not like everyone needs to go so deep. Sometimes you can actually just, with right nourishment, fix a lot of these different things.
Yeah. And also, I think a great point is that very often I meet people that in my book is like you're borderline unhealthy eating patterns and you eat a little bit too less, but why do you do that?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's actually because they try to eliminate gluten, then try to eliminate dairy products because they got acne and or something like that, or they tried eliminating meat, animal products and stuff like that. So it's sometimes the reason why you're malnourished is actually because you are hiding some symptoms, and of course we need to take care of the nourishment. I totally agree. But we also need to be aware, is there something
Of course.
a red flag underneath?
Also depending on how much time you have.
Exactly.
Because people wanted to be pregnant yesterday.
Yeah.
Or 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
But in the end, it's just very important not to overstress it as well. So that's also a point. Yeah, we can talk a lot, but I could see that there's somebody saying.
I'm trying to get a signal of how much time we've got. 5 minutes. Okay. Perfect. So I would just really like to round up with talking about how do you determine what is your root cause. I know that the way we work is, and especially you work, is in functional medicine. You try to screen a lot, see all of the symptoms. You don't go into an AI. You talk to a qualified practitioner helping you to do that body detective work to screen, because I can't treat myself, you can't treat you. It's difficult seeing your own flaws and seeing your own root causes, but it's really helpful to work with a qualified practitioner who can help you identify which are your main root causes. And that may not happen in the first consultation. Oh, amazing, we do have a timer here, it just popped up now. Stressful. But so you need to work with a qualified practitioner to find out what are your root causes, and also work with a timeline. It takes a person to see the full picture, and it may not be fixed with just within one consultation. I often describe it, when you work with functional medicine, you're like more of a family physician, because you start off treating the mom for menstrual dysregulations, then she gets pregnant, then the baby comes, and then the mom gets stressed, then the dad gets stressed, and then you see the whole family, because it's like a continuous process, getting to know your own biochemistry and your own biology. So when people come into your consultation and wanting to get off the pill and get pregnant, it takes time, right?
Yeah.
That's
the main factor.
And how much, I know that you cannot say, but how much before you want to get pregnant should you actually start?
Yeah, so when it comes to egg quality and these things, it's a minimum of 3 months, but I would say maybe a year or something. Depending on your situation, because if it's because of you've been on the pill because of symptoms, I would say even longer.
Yeah.
But in the end, around a year. And just to one of the things that you said, I wanted to emphasize that thing about feeling being unique is quite representative for most of us. So I'm really trying to, in my practice, to not make people not being unique, not that, but trying to make the point and trying to figure out what is the cue that you need to get to understand that you need to fix this. Or because I've been working a lot with habits and habit change, and it really takes a lot to change your habits, and you really need to make this your first priority. So how can I nudge that? Is a big focus on me and also because I've been working a lot with eating disorders, so there's a lot of things that we need to turn around. Yeah.
The dream scenario is at least a year before you want to get pregnant, and if you have symptoms before in my practice. But I very often work with them where it's like I have had 7 miscarriages and I need to do something now, and we are under time pressure. But if I could turn back time and let them know about what to do a year before to get find the root cause of inflammation and get a nice nourished body from them, and if they are on the pill a year to get a normal cycle, then I will be happy. And then people say like, well, yeah, then it also take a year to get pregnant, and I'm like, maybe not. If you are a little bit more optimized, then it won't take a year to get pregnant if you're lucky.
So to sum it up, if you could both get 3 of your best tips, best health tips to get pregnant for males and females, what would be the 3 most important things for our audience today to take away? Yes?
Should I start?
Marlene?
Yeah.
Will you start, Marlene?
The most important part is take your menstrual cycle seriously. Take it as a telltale sign of, is there something wrong in your body? And the next part is at least eat 150 grams of carbohydrates a day if you want to ovulate and you want to be pregnant. That's very hands-on. I love that. And then look into your lifestyle. I think stress will be my number 3. There's a lot more, but that will be my, is your work-life balance okay? I would say, because if I can do that in a good time, then I have a whole lot more to work with later on.
I would say that you should focus on animal protein. You should also get your carbs, but get them from good carbs that doesn't fuck up your blood sugar, and have a great balance in your meal, and nourish yourself. Think of food as being nourishment, and you cannot get fat of nourishment. People, you need to eat that. And then I would say sleep.
Yeah.
And then work out in a balanced way. Work out to feel good, not to be skinny. Yeah.
Yes. Focus on balance and nurture and oxytocin.
Yeah.
And be in love all the time, and it's a lot easier with everything.
Yeah. True.
Thank you. You two are amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A big round of applause to our amazing panelists. Do we have time for a question or 2?
I do. You have the time.
Can I be I'm going to have one question here. Can I ask a quick question on whether you are, when you look at fertility, global fertility, are you bullish, optimistic on where we're heading? So let's say
Absolutely
2035, what does the world look like?
But absolutely not, because when we see at sperm quality, when we have the statistics from the 40s and then from 92, the sperm quality was decreased by 50%, and since then it's 1 to 3 to 4% each year since then. Yeah. So the sperm quality overall in the total world is only going one way down. Yeah. And with our stressor and our lifestyle, too much carbohydrates, too little nourishment, either one of the polars,
we're fucked.
Yeah. That is as well. I was just doing a video about the DNA Grow Baby, and that's one of the points as well. Is like what we do while pregnant is so important for sperm count of the next generation, for egg quality of the next generation, and so on. So that's also a reason why I love to do DNA.
Brilliant. One more last question.
I have like 5, but I ask a few and you decide what you answer. How do you measure underlying stress and hidden inflammation?
Yeah.
And how can you measure how much time you have left to think about getting pregnant? And because statistics shows many women try to delay it and get pregnant a bit later in life, etc.
That's an issue with the global.
That's a great question.
Yeah. I think you're better on the testing one, because I would just talk to you a lot about it and figure it out mentally as well. But you can, of course, test your cortisol and these things, and I also do that. But you're down to cell.
So first off, how long time you got left? There is the blood work from the doctor in every country is the anti-Müllerian hormone. And that determines the egg reserve you have left. And even though age is a factor, if you know what to do and how to address it, it's what I see is when you turn like 39, something like that. The need for more support is still there, but there's so much to do. I'm like, as long as you have an anti-Mullerian hormone over 5, then I'm like, we can get you pregnant 2 times, no worries. But it depends on how much support do you need, age-wise. And cortisol, the best way in I think there's quite consensus about that is in either saliva or urine, but do a Kjær as like a cortisol awakening response, where you do a spot test throughout 24 hours. And then you get, because if you don't only do now you're measuring cortisol now, it will give you a wrong idea of how you are throughout the day. So to see the adrenal gland functions, it's much better to have it and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. One last round of applause to our fantastic panelists.